Thousands of international graduates touch down in Ireland every year with a specific timeline in mind. Finish a master's degree, secure a job, and hold an Irish passport 5 years later. But the math of Irish naturalization does not align with that expectation. For most graduates arriving today, securing citizenship actually takes a minimum of 8 years of continuous, heavily audited residency. For Indian nationals, this path carries an even heavier weight. You face a gauntlet of strict immigration rules, and at the end of it, the forced legal surrender of your home passport. Today, we are breaking down the true return on investment of this 8-year journey, mapping out the upfront costs, the residency math, and the final payoff. Gaining citizenship is an 8-year administrative project that requires active tracking of every immigration permission from the day you first arrive. The biggest miscalculation starts at the university gates. Many assume their time on a student visa starts the clock on their citizenship. The Irish Nationality and Citizenship Act measures time through reckonable residence. Under this strict legal metric, any days spent in the country on a Stamp 2 student visa contribute exactly 0 days to your naturalization total. The second major hurdle comes at the finish line. A common belief is that you can eventually hold your Indian nationality alongside your new Irish one. While Ireland allows multiple nationalities, the Indian government strictly forbids it. To complete the Irish naturalization process, you must formally renounce your Indian citizenship. These two legal hurdles lengthen the path to naturalization and force a permanent choice between national identities. If you spend 12 to 24 months completing a master's degree on a Stamp 2, that entire period is excluded from your citizenship application. This comparative timeline chart shows the reality. The naturalization clock only begins ticking the moment you switch to a Stamp 1G graduate permission or a Stamp 1 on a critical skills employment permit. To qualify, the law requires you to prove 5 total years, or 1,825 days, of valid reckonable stamps within a 9-year window. Let's track a graduate arriving in September 2025. They spend their first year earning 0 reckonable days. In September 2026, they secure their Stamp 1G, followed later by a Critical Skills Stamp 1. After 21 months on Critical Skills, they convert to a Stamp 4. Compiling all these qualifying days, they finally hit the required 1,825-day mark around September 2031. You must calculate this total strictly from the registration dates printed on the back of your physical Irish residence permit cards, not the day your flight landed in Dublin. Factoring in processing times, that intense initial period of studying and job hunting takes roughly 8 years of continuous legal residency to finally yield citizenship eligibility. Submitting the application requires a non-refundable upfront fee of €175. If approved, you pay an additional €950 certification fee, bringing the base cost to €1,125. You also must navigate a strict 150-point scorecard system for every year of residency you claim. This means you have to securely store every expired IRP card and copy of your passport biometrics page from your very first day in the country. Looking at this progress bar visualizing the final year bottleneck, you can see the single most common reason for refusal. You face a hard limit of exactly 70 days outside of Ireland in the 12 months immediately before you apply. This strictly restricts your ability to work remotely, take long international holidays, or spend extended time visiting family back in India during your crucial 5th qualifying year. Once you clear that bottleneck and submit, you undergo a mandatory Garda e-vetting background check. You then enter a waiting period that currently spans 12 to 20 months before a decision and ceremony. Getting through this final stretch requires absolute bureaucratic compliance. You trade your personal travel flexibility for continuous proof of residency. Naturalization converts years of compliance into unconditional legal rights. You gain the ability to live, work, study, and vote across all 27 EU member states without needing another visa application. But securing that European mobility comes at a definitive cost. You are legally required to file Form 22 and permanently surrender your Indian citizenship. This involves submitting a declaration of renunciation and physically handing over your Indian passport at the Embassy of India in Dublin to receive your formal certificate. To maintain a connection to your home country, Most naturalized citizens immediately apply for a digital Overseas Citizen of India, or OCI card, which restores lifelong visa-free entry to India. The entire process culminates in Killarney at a citizenship ceremony, marking the official milestone where your legal status officially changes. The final result is a permanent change in legal identity, trading your original passport for an Irish one and the mobility of the European Union. Not everyone is ready to sever their legal tie to India, and you don't have to. After completing 5 years of work on qualifying immigration stamps, you become eligible for an alternative status, long-term residency. This comparison matrix maps the exact differences. For a one-off fee of €500, long-term residency gives you a 5-year stamp 4, removing the frequent, expensive renewals of a standard permission, while avoiding the €1,125 cost of naturalization. However, while it provides deep stability within Ireland, it grants absolutely no freedom of movement, EU work rights, or voting privileges in the rest of the European Union. Long-term residency acts as a strategic compromise. You keep your Indian passport, but you leave the broader power of the European bloc on the table. This 3-column segment map categorizes your options based on lifestyle. Deciding which path to take comes down to aligning the strict residency rules with your specific career goals. For the EU settler, the goal is permanent European mobility. If you want the option to live in France, work in Germany, or vote in Irish elections, the 8-year wait, the fees, and the renunciation are a justified return on investment. For the temporary earner who plans to eventually move back to India or relocate to the United States, long-term residency provides all the local stability you need without forcing a permanent change in nationality. But for the global nomad, caution is required. If your work or family life requires you to be outside of Ireland for more than 2 months a year, you will consistently collide with the 70-day travel limit, jeopardizing your citizenship eligibility. Whatever your profile, your next step is the same. Pull out your physical IRP cards, look at the registration dates, and map your timeline based strictly on the days you have actually earned. Securing an Irish passport is an active, heavily audited investment. It requires knowing exactly what you are building toward from day one.